Have you ever walked into a craft store, sit in front of all those crochet tools, and thought to yourself, what the heck am I supposed to buy? I don't need all of that, do I? Been there. I walked out with nothing but a headache, and I want to keep that from happening to you. Hi there, I'm Laisha from With Love Laisha. Welcome to today's live. I am going to share with you the only 4 tools you actually need to start crocheting, because the internet and social media are really good at convincing us that we need things that we really don't. So we're going to come up with the perfect shopping list for beginners, and I'm going to tell you how to get all these things without spending a fortune. So let's jump in. I've got kittens chewing on my cords and playing behind me, and a cat crying outside my room door. So this is going to be good. So if you're on live with me, let me know that you're live. Tell me who you are, where you're from. If you're watching the replay, say replay. Tell me who you are, where you're from. I'm so excited to get to know you guys. All right, my very first tool that I want to share, it's yarn, of course, right? We all need yarn to get crocheting, but not just any yarn. There's 2 types of yarn that are going to be really good for beginners. So the first type is going to be, I have some notes. The first type is going to be a medium weight yarn in a solid color. And this would be a level 4 yarn. You don't want to do anything less than that because your stitches will be difficult to see and the yarn isn't going to be very comfortable to hold. So going with a medium weight yarn, you'll be able to see your stitches more clearly and hold the yarn more comfortably. There's also a lot of beginner projects that use medium weight level 4 yarn. So it'll be really easy for you to, move through a bunch of different projects with the yarn that you have without having to go and spend on a bunch of different yarns. The second type of yarn that you're going to want to grab, or that you have an option to grab, is a chunky weight level 5 yarn. And this yarn, I think, is even better than the level 4 medium weight yarn because it's thicker, it's bigger, so it's easier to hold, and your stitches are also going to be much easier to see. But there's not a lot of projects for beginners that are small projects that use chunky yarns. So for example, with a medium weight level 4 yarn, you can do coasters, hot pads, dishcloths, so many things. And with a chunky weight, you're a little bit more limited, but you can do beanies that start out right like a rectangle. You can do granny squares. You can do small pouches and purses, and you can do scarves. So chunky scarves are really great. They'll work up quickly. A simple pattern will be very beginner friendly and easy to follow. And I have a free scarf pattern for you linked in the description. It's written for beginner crocheters, so you don't need to know how to read a pattern. And it comes with a video tutorial. So it's a great pattern that uses chunky yarn, and I think you're going to love it. So let me show you the difference between the 2 yarns and where you're going to find what weight it is, what thickness it is. So this is Impeccable by Loops and Threads, and you're going to find on the back of the label, there we go, this level 4, and that tells you how thick the yarn is. So you want a level 4 or a level 5, and you want to go for a solid color, because if you're going with something like this, your stitches are going to be really difficult to see. So level 4 medium weight yarn in a solid color, or a chunky level 5 weight yarn, also preferably in a solid color. Okay, the next tool you're going to need is a crochet hook. Again, you're not just going to grab any crochet hook. you have an option between two different types. So depending on what yarn you choose, if you go with a medium weight yarn, a size H crochet hook is going to be absolutely perfect because, because a size H crochet hook will work with most medium weight yarns. So the back of the yarn actually tells you what size crochet hook you need. And whether your yarn calls or recommends a G, H, or an I, you'll be able to use a size H 5.0 mm crochet hook. I'm so sorry, the kittens are playing with their toys here. You'll be able to use a size H 5.0 mm crochet hook with a yarn that calls for a G or an I. So it's really versatile. You can get away with it, whether it's a little bit, here and there, up or down. So I would go with a size H. If you decide to go with a chunky weight level 5 yarn, you are going to want to go with, I would say, choose a size 11, a size L, which is a size L11, which is an 8 mm crochet hook. So this crochet hook will go with a lot of chunky yarns. A few of them are Bernat, Softy Chunky, Karen Chunky, Chunky Cakes, Loops and Threads, Charisma, just to name a few. And you can Google yarns that use size 11 or size 8.0 mm crochet hook, and it'll give you a bunch of options. And the reason I'm recommending an L is because, again, if you have a yarn that requires a hook that's an M, you'll still be able to get away with using an L. So this is what my Bernat Softy Chunky looks like. And it's a little bit thicker. And then this is the Impeccable. So you can see the difference. And then I'm going to show you the crochet hooks. So this is a size H, and then this is a size 11 or an 8 mm L. And this is going to be a lot easier to hold than this guy. That's why I recommend going with the bigger hooks and the bigger yarns, but it's absolutely up to you. Now, the next thing you want to look for when you're looking at crochet hooks is what kind of handle you have. So that toy is really irritating. So give me one sec. I'm going to get rid of these toys. All right, so sorry about that. So the other option or the other decision you have to make is what kind of handle your crochet hook has on it. So this is an all metal crochet hook, and this is what the handle looks like. And if you're going with something thinner, this is what it's going to look like. This is a metal crochet hook. And these are ergonomic crochet hooks. So in my opinion, these are a lot easier to hold than these. I mean, can you imagine trying to hold onto that? This is an H, and so is this. So, I mean, you can see the difference. These are going to be a lot better when you're building muscle memory and you're trying to get your hands to do something they really don't want to do. So that's what I would go with, an ergonomic crochet hook. And moving on to yarn needles. Yarn needles or darning needles are an absolute must when you're starting out. So these are, let me show you what it is. These are going to help you sew in your ends and finish off your project so that everything looks really nice and neat and you don't have yarn tails sticking out of the ends of your projects. So this is a metal crochet hook, a metal yarn needle. I'm so distracted by these kids. This is a metal yarn needle, And they also come in plastic. I don't have a plastic one, but they come in plastic. So you can choose to go with the metal or the plastic. If you're going with a medium weight yarn, you can do the metal ones. They're way more sturdy than the plastic yarn needles. And if you're using a chunky yarn, then a plastic needle would actually be better because the eye on it is going to be much bigger. And then they also make some that have like a bent tip on them, but you can just opt for the straight basic yarn needles or darning needles when you're starting out. And the last thing that you're going to need are stitch markers. These are your holy grail as a beginner. So stitch markers are going to help you solve a lot of the common problems and mistakes that beginners make when they're starting out with crochet. The very first problem you're going to have is recognizing what your stitches actually look like. The stitch markers are going to go into your stitches, and you'll be able to actually identify your stitches by putting a stitch marker into each stitch. So this is a stitch marker, and it's going to go into your stitches just like this. And it'll help you identify your first and last stitch. It'll also help you identify your individual stitches. And it'll help you keep your edges really nice and straight. So these are going to be problems you're going to come up to when you are learning to crochet. And these are really going to help prevent any of those issues. And I have an entire video that I've done on how to use the stitch markers and why they're so important and all the different uses. 2 different videos, actually. So I'll link those in the description for you, and you can check those out. The type of stitch markers you go for is really important. So I would highly recommend going for these locking stitch markers. They look like safety pins. They're really easy to use, and they won't fall out of your work. You don't need to get anything fancy that has any charms or metal stuff or anything on them. Just go with basic plain stitch markers, and these will be really easy for you to use, and they'll really help you, avoid a lot of those problems that beginners have. So all of these things are going to cost you, a pretty penny if you're trying to buy all of them separately. If you want to save some money, you can grab a kit. I bought my first kit on Amazon. It looks like this. I still use it today. It came with all the crochet hooks. It came with all these needles, and it came with an entire pack of stitch markers. It had 14 different hook sizes in it. Now, why am I telling you to get a kit when I just said you don't need a bunch of different stuff when you're starting out? Because getting this kit is actually going to be less expensive and more economical for you than trying to buy each of these things separately, whether online or in a craft store. These are also not random tools. These are things you'll use on a regular basis. So it's a set that you will grow with and grow into. 14 hook sizes are included in this kit. So let's say you are ready to move on to a project that now asks for you to use a size G or a size M crochet hook. Well, you'll already have it in that set. So I highly recommend going with a set like that. And they're only anywhere between $15 to $20, which is pretty close to the cost that you would end up spending, depending on which exact brands and what items and where you shop. It's pretty close to what you'll spend if you're buying each of these items separately. So you can hop on Amazon, you can search crochet hook sets. The ergonomic ones are going to be really, really awesome for you. So I highly recommend that you do that. You grab one of those. I have my set linked in the description. It is an affiliate link, so I get a teeny tiny commission if you purchase, but you can honestly just do an Amazon search and you can find any type of set that you like. This is just one that I've used and I've really loved, so that's why I linked it for you guys. All right, let's do a quick recap. So yarn. You need to know where to get your yarn. So for yarn discounts, I would hop on the rewards. You know, a lot of these like craft stores have email lists and rewards programs. Those are really great because you'll get special discounts that they don't offer the general public. So that will be really, really, really beneficial. If you're not ready for that yet, though, there's a lot of discounts that they offer in store. Like you can just, keep track of days when they do like a 25% off discount, 50% off all yarn. I've gotten so much yarn on like BOGO deals, and it's just you can go for yarn brands that are not very expensive. So like Red Heart Super Saver is pretty economical. I started with that. It's not a very popular brand, I know, but it is a good one. I also love Impeccable Loops and Threads. It's not crazy expensive. Lion brand yarns are not terrible. And again, if you keep an eye out for these days that have these discounts going on, you can really, really buy a good amount of yarn for very little money. So that's another option for you to save some money on yarn. The other thing is you can check out thrift stores. So I know a lot of people that go yarn shopping in thrift stores. You can either find entire skeins of yarn in the store, or if you feel so inclined, although I know you are beginners, you can actually open up a project that has already been done, like a sweater or whatever, and reuse that yarn. That's another really cool thing that I've seen people do, but that might be a little more than you're ready for right now. So it's just an idea for the future. So let's recap. What are the 4 things you're going to need? You're going to need yarn, and you're going to go for either a medium weight level 4 yarn like this right here, Impeccable Loops and Threads, or you're going to go for a chunky yarn like Bernat Softy, which looks like this, and it's thicker. The second thing you're going to grab is a crochet hook. You're either going to get one in a size H 5.0 mm, or you're going to get one that is a size L 8 mm. The third thing you're going to grab are stitch markers. You're going to want locking ones that look like safety pins. These are really, really great, easy to use. And lastly, you want a yarn needle or darning needle, which will help you sew in your ends. And that looks like this. You can grab a plastic one or a metal one. All right, that is my shopping list for you today. And if you have any questions, feel free to pop them into the chat. I will get back to you. And that's all I have for you guys today. So in case you missed it, I have a free scarf pattern linked in the description for a chunky scarf that's written for beginners, so you don't need to know how to read a pattern. It comes with a video tutorial, and I'm really, really sure you're going to enjoy it, and it's going to be super easy for you to work through, and you'll already have all the tools and materials ready for it. So thank you so much for joining me today. That does it for me. Until next time, keep crocheting with love and patience.